Hi there, and thanks for clicking on the video. Today we're going to be looking at making progress on rural roads. It's often something that causes new drivers and learners concerns, often with questions like, what's the minimum speed I can get away with on a national speed limit road? Is doing 40 miles an hour okay? And those questions can't really be answered as it depends on the situation. What we're basically looking to do is drive at the appropriate speed. And today we're going to be looking at what we mean by driving at the appropriate speed. We have a national speed limit road coming up here, and what we're going to be initially looking at is something called using a limit point. The limit point is the furthest point you can see in the road, highlighted here. If the limit point is far away from you, then you're increasing your speed to make some progress. If when you come up to a bend, the limit point appears to move with you, so as you move a car length forwards, you see a car length more around the corner, you maintain your speed. You don't increase it, you don't decrease it, you maintain your speed. As you come out of the bend and the road starts to straighten, the limit point may appear to go further away from you. This is when you're checking your mirrors and then increasing your speed. When you notice the limit point closing down on you and getting closer, then you should be checking your mirrors and reducing your speed. You'll know when it's the correct speed as the limit point will appear to start moving with you, like it does here. Maintain a steady speed round the bend. As the limit point appears to move away from you, you chase it and increase your speed. Using limit points is a very effective technique. In fact, it's used by advanced drivers, racing drivers, police drivers, and other emergency services, but it only helps you to judge the sharpness of bends. There are other factors you need to take into account as well when choosing the appropriate speed. The road I'm about to drive onto is also national speed limit, 60 miles per hour, but it's nowhere near safe to go 60 miles per hour on this road. Remember, it's a speed limit, not a target. You do not have to be getting 60 miles an hour unless it's safe to do so. On this road, one of the factors is there's a footpath on the left. There's also a rugby club coming up soon. So that basically means there's more potential pedestrian activity and parked vehicles. So this is certainly going to affect our speed. Also, the width of the road here is slightly narrower. So larger vehicles might cause us an issue, especially tractors, as we're on quite a back road. It's not a very main road, this one at all. And we're near farmland, so tractors could be around. And they might be straddling the centre line on our side of the road. So we need a bit of speed so we can deal with that in a safe and calm way. As we come around the corner, we can see a pedestrian walking on the road. And also there's a parked vehicle on our side of the road, and an oncoming vehicle to deal with. So this is a road where you can't really be building much speed. There is quite a lot of pedestrian activity and parked vehicles. The limit point may be quite far away from us, but it's just not safe to build speed too much here. So I'm just currently doing about 40 miles an hour, which is 20 miles an hour below the limit, but given the circumstances, it's the appropriate speed. You would not get marked down your driving test for doing 40 miles an hour on this road in the current conditions. Another parked vehicle on the right, and also one on the left, slightly on the road. So we need to give way to this oncoming vehicle. So this road's nowhere near safe to do 60 miles an hour at the moment. The limit point's also fairly close to us, and the road's going downhill. Some water at the side of the road, and because it's a hill, the water could be collecting at the bottom of the hill, and there could be a flood at the bottom. So we need to think about this. Also, the road surface isn't too great. Quite muddy, quite a lot of holes at the side of the road. So all these things we need to take into account when choosing what the appropriate speed is. I'm currently driving at around 25 miles an hour, but it's quite appropriate considering the conditions. I'm going to drop down to gear 2 for this corner, because it's going uphill. It's going to make the car rev quite a bit, but that's quite okay. I'm in gear 2 doing about 25 to 30 miles an hour. If it's appropriate to, it's quite okay to stay in a lower gear for things like hills and bends. You will not get marked down your driving test for doing this, as long as it's appropriate to do it. The road's beginning to straighten, flatten, and I can see further, so I'm going to go into gear 3. I'm currently doing between 35 to 40 miles an hour on a 60-mile-an-hour road, but it's quite appropriate. We've got a junction to the right there. The road's still quite narrow. There's also quite a high risk of pedestrians. We've come across them before, so we know they're going to be round this area. It's going downhill again. Is it going to be flooded at the bottom of the hill? So remember, all these sort of things you need to be considering when choosing what the appropriate speed is. The speed limit is going to change to national speed limit soon, and this speed limit is quite hard to notice as it's a bit hidden in the bushes, but we can notice it if we look for the clues. If we notice on the road surface there's a big red strip. Whenever we see that big red strip, there's often a speed limit change. We can also see the white wooden fence coming up. That's often a gateway in and out of a village/built up area. This national speed limit road is a bit wider, so we might be able to make some good progress here. We come up to the left-hand bend, we can see the limit point appears to be moving, so we're going to maintain our speed. We're currently doing about 40 to 45 miles an hour. The limit point's running away from us, so on our gas and build the speed, getting up to 50 miles an hour. Got the left-hand bend coming up. There are some houses left and right, but not too much activity. It's not too much of an issue for me. Limit point still seems to be moving here, so maintaining the speed about 50 miles per hour. Right-hand bend, keep an eye on that limit point. Is it going to move? Yes, it's moving, so keep that speed 50 miles per hour. It's a house on the left, but again, not much activity. It's not too much of an issue. Limit point's now running away from us, so checking those mirrors and building that speed. Getting to 55, then 60 miles per hour. Got warning of a crossroads, so checking those mirrors and reducing speed. Now down to 50 miles an hour. Notice the red road surface. Potentially quite a hazardous area going near a crossroads, as traffic could pull out in front of you. Maybe they misjudged your speed due to the high speeds involved on these roads. One thing you might notice is the road signs and road markings often say slow, but I don't always slow for them, as it basically depends on what speed you're currently doing. So if you're doing 60 miles per hour, you might need to slow for the road signs when you see them. But if you're only doing 50 miles an hour, you might be okay. 40 miles an hour, you might be okay. It really depends. So when it says slow like this, it depends on what speed you're currently doing. For this bit here, I'm slowing from 60 down to 50 due to the crossroads. Now I'm clear of the hazard and I'm checking mirrors and building speed back up to 60 miles per hour. So I've got a give way sign here for a T-junction. And when I merge at the T-junction, we're going to notice the speed limit is changing to the national speed limit, 60 miles per hour on these single carriageways. So we should notice a sign just as we approach the T-junction. I'm going to be turning right. So you see the sign just on the left there. Because I'm merging on such a fast road, I'm just going to plan to stop at the end. Just apply the handbrake and just assess the junction. The vehicles from the left, they're quite far. Clear right, clear ahead, I'm going to pull out. Now because it's a national speed limit road, it's quite a straight, clear road, I need to pick my speed up. So into gear 2 and hard on the gas. Let it rev and then straight to gear 4. So in gear 2 there I've got to about 45 miles an hour in gear 2. Then I block change to gear 4. Really important to do that and build your speed, because that helps you to build your speed effectively. And the vehicle coming from behind, they're not going to be expecting you to pull out slowly. It's a 60 mile an hour road. Once you pulled out, get your foot down and build your speed. Speed limit changes to national speed limit here, 60 miles per hour. But I'm not going to increase speed here. There's a footpath there, street lighting, so it still looks quite residential. Good idea to increase my speed. There's a horse on the road up here. So checking mirrors and slowing. I want to go past the horse really slowly and wide. So slowing right down below 10 miles an hour and into gear 1. Checking mirrors, slowly going round, trying not to accelerate too much. And then checking mirrors and then gently coming back in, trying not to scare that horse. Another national speed limit road. At the moment, I've got this cyclist in front of me. Due to the speed of the road, it's not safe to overtake them on this blind bend. The oncoming traffic could be coming at very high speed, 60 miles per hour. It's just not worth the risk, so just be patient and wait behind them. As I come round the bend, my vision opens up a bit, so I'm going to check my mirrors. It's all clear ahead and no one overtaking, so I'm going to gently steer around the cyclist. Just be mindful of the junction on the left. I'm going to make eye contact with the driver of the black car to make sure they've seen me, so they're not going to pull out as I overtake. Safe to pull back in. Looking to the limit point, I can see a jogger jogging towards me. Some mirrors, reduces my speed. Can I give the jogger a wide berth? Yes, I can. It's clear of oncoming traffic. If I wasn't able to give him a wide berth, I'd need to reduce my speed further to potentially give the jogger time to step into the grass out to the road. Now looking at the limit point of this bend, it appears to be moving, so I'm going to maintain my speed around 35 to 40 miles an hour. Limit point's running away from me a bit here, so mirrors and increasing speed. Now up to about 50 miles per hour. Limit point's running for me as I come around this bend, so maintaining the speed at 50 miles per hour. Still running for me the limit point, so this bend's not too sharp. Keep that speed at 50 miles per hour. Road now bending round to the left. Is the limit point moving for me? Going to reduce speed a bit because it's not moving too much yet. Now it's starting to move for me, now about 45 miles an hour. Limit point's running away from me. There is a junction right, but junction right appears to be clear. So mirrors and increasing speed up to 50 miles per hour. Looking towards the limit point, I can now see a T-junction coming up. So mirrors and start to reduce my speed, being ready to deal with the T-junction.